you able to work, because I know you're a hair designer, how would you able to work your business as a hair designer, and you're also a manager, into doing community activities?
Well, my motivating factors is, well, I'm a Eucharistic minister and I'm a lector at Our Lady of Grace, which is now St. Francis of Rome, and I serve at the first Sunday of the month and the third Sunday. I belong to 2 societies in my church, and I'm very dedicated. And from there, I'm able to, move on and make other times in my life to do some of the community activities that I enjoy doing and belonging to the organizations that I'm currently connected with.
Right.
Welcome to Carol Journey TV. Today we have a very, very exciting show. It's my pleasure to introduce Varahn Chamblee, okay? Varahn Chamblee is one of our previous guests where we talked about careers. And one of the things we talked about careers was community activism, and she gave us a breakdown. We're going to do an update on Varahn Chamblee today in 2018 and talk about some of the very interesting things she has done during this period of time. Welcome, Varahn.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question. Your last name is Chamblee.
Yes.
And I had to ask you several times how to pronounce it. And I said it has sort of like a French sound to it. What's the origin of Chamblee?
Yes, well, it is a French name. My father's name that he gave me, when my mom.
Right.
My parents both were from North Carolina. So my father was from a town called Ahoskie, North Carolina, which is not, I'm excited when I meet people from Ahoskie, North Carolina. In fact, a large majority of the Chamblees live in Ahoskie, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yes.
What about the spelling of your last name?
My last name is Chamblee. But years ago, way back in time, during the time of slavery, my father and one of his first cousins shared with me and my sisters and brothers how that originally our name was Chamblee, because I had a cousin, my father's cousin, and he spelled his name differently. So we wanted to know, why is his name spelled S-H-A? And so they said, well, back in the day, they realized that if we changed our name to C, that we would have more access to whatever that was given to us at that time during slavery time, that we wouldn't be at the bottom of the list, so to speak. So my father's name was from Chamblee, Chamblee, to Chamblee with Chamblee.
Okay.
So they even took the Y off of and put it an E.
Okay. Now, let's get back to our community activism. What did you do at the very beginning? What gave you the inspiration to be able to get back to your community?
Well, a lot of it really extended for me, attending church. I'm also a licensed cosmetologist, which you interviewed me back a while back now, but I come in contact with women of all backgrounds, and I just starting from the church and now getting involved in different organizations, and I just kind of have a love for it. I'm excited and always willing to look to help people in communities, whether it be through the church or the organizations that I come in contact with.
Right. I know you're involved in so many different activities. I want to backtrack because I know you're a design specialist and a consultant too.
Yes.
And can you expound on that a little bit?
Okay, well, as a design specialist, consultant, like I said, I have a lot of contact with women of all backgrounds and professions, and I like to, talk with them and find out what they like, what they do, especially ones that I have met in organization, even as yourself, and kind of like what, interests them and within the communities they live in. And I've developed, many ideas about how I can help and give back to the community.
Okay, it sounds like I'm bouncing back and forth, which I am. Okay, let's talk about your involvement with the church and how did that help you to be able to communicate with the community? And maybe some of the little activities that you're doing right now with that.
All right, I belong to the Church of St. Francis of Rome. It's located in the northeast part of the Bronx. Originally, we were from the Church of Our Lady of Grace. And then, of course, they downsized a lot of the churches. So we became involved with the Church of St. Francis of Rome, which is also the Church of St. Francis of Assisi, St. Anthony's, and of course, St. Francis of Rome is like the umbrella for the churches that I just mentioned. So back in like 2008, when there was a society that was founded by Pauline Wilson and the Society of St. Martin de Porres. And I became the president at that time, and around that time, to 2012, which is when we took a trip up to the Great Moor Monastery. And now, that we moved on to St. Francis of Rome, again, I was chosen the president of the Society of St. Martin de Porres. So we're taking a trip up to the Great Moor Monastery November the 3rd, which is the feast day of St. Martin de Porres. And we will spend the entire day up there. And up there is, we get a chance to see videos and basically meet a lot of the Franciscans, and those are mostly of the priests that have retired and they live up in the monastery. So we will go up there, we will have lunch up there, we will have a mass for, that day, honoring and celebrating the life of St. Martin de Porres.
Now, let's move on to some of your other organizations. NCNW, NAACP. Could you tell me something about them?
Okay, well, NCNW is where I got started from. I met a few of the ladies that were members of National Council of Negro Women, and then I was brought on to and introduced to NAACP. Those are two strong organizations that I really have a great love for, because it's a big family to me between the two of them, because a lot of the members, we all know one another, and we both are involved in both organizations, and there's always different events that go on, like the Freedom Fund event for NAACP is coming up this weekend, Friday, September the 28th at the Eastwood Manor. And so I'm looking forward to that as well as you. I know you are too, because we're on the executive committee together.
That's right.
And I,
Okay.
So.
Now, what about the Bronx Women's Political Caucus? Left that one out.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yes.
I'm excited about that now, because I feel like finally we have a platform, because recently we've had several women that have ran and won and came into office now.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that one. In fact, I've been working on a place where there will be some meetings, upcoming meetings for, the National Women's Political Caucus as the Bronx manager. I have several women that have mentioned that to me too. When are we going to, but we needed to wait till we had a few women of power. And so now that we have that, there's a platform for that now, which I'll speak more on about it some other time if you like. I'll be glad to share.
Okay, this. Now the next thing we would talk about is the Arlington Business Association.
Oh, okay.
And some of the activities.
Oh, all right. Well, recently, August the 25th exactly, we had a International Food Festival. The Arlington International Food Festival was a big success. I was told by, a lot of elected officials as well as, community residents that it was the best one that we had this year. We had several different acts, the singers, dancers. In fact, I placed at least 4 of the acts on the entertainment part of the festival, and I also had like about 3 or 4 vendors that came into play too at the food festival. So it was a really big success. The members to the Society of St. Monica that I belong to, we have the young, the sons and daughters of St. Monica's African dance group, and they performed at the festival that Saturday, which I was very excited about because we have different activities and events that go on within the church, and they were happy to come out and entertain us the day of the food festival.
Yeah. What is the primary function of the Arlington Business Association in terms of the community? What are the functions there?
Well, our interest really is to make sure that our merchants make money and to support them as much as we can, within our community. In fact, I support a lot of our merchants. I get my nails done at the various nail salons there, and I also I purchased, there's a store by the name of Kohl's that's on the corner. They have a lot of nice African and Indian attire that sometimes I just go in. In fact, when I was honored at the Bronx Times 25 influential women, the dress I had on, it was orange and white. That was one of the dresses that I had,
Okay. Well, we're going to break right now for a PSA.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about your honors and a little bit about the why, because we've heard about all the different organizations that you belong to, but why are you involved as a community activist?
Okay.
What inspired you to go that route? Okay.
All right. Will do.
Hi, I'm Jordan Peele. I'm usually trying way too hard to be funny. Well, right now I'm going to be completely serious with you. Online bullying is a toxic side effect of modern technology. No one's immune to it. Not you, not me, nobody. But there's a way we can fix it. This emoji in the symbol section of your phone's emoji keyboard. Use it when you see bullying online to say, I see what you're doing, not cool, definitely not funny. And I know what funny is. I coined the phrase wordness to the turdness. So join me and become a witness. When you see bullying online, use this emoji to do something. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in! Help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit savethefood.com.
People should get to know someone before they judge them.
Don't judge someone before you've had the chance to meet them or know them.
Each person is unique. Each person has different skills.
Just look what's on the inside and not on the outside.
I don't believe that other races are superior. I believe that Essentially, we're all equal.
Just because you're one color or religion, that doesn't mean you're going to succeed.
Your physical traits don't define who you are.
You need to stop and you need to grow up.
Stop racism.
Stop racism.
Stop racism.
Welcome back to Carol's Journey. Today we are interviewing Ms. Varahn Chamblee, and we're going to continue our conversation about Varahn Chamblee and her community activism. Varahn, now one question I need to ask you, and we went through a whole series, and then we're going to bounce back again on the Arlington Merchants Association. But what initially got you interested in doing most of the stuff you've done is community based? What was the reason behind that? Is that the need to help people or to help the community? Why are you doing this?
Well, I have a love for the community and the residents, particularly the children, our youth. And as time went on, and after being involved with so many other organizations, I just developed a real love for the community and to help people. And I watch other people, particularly other elected officials, and the love and concern that we need to have for one another in a community. There's several people that have influenced me. Like our Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz, Mark Jonai, there's, to name a few, Marcus Crespo, Carl Hasty, the Speaker of the Assembly, and, now, of course, our new Assemblywoman for the 80th District, Natalia Fernandez. And I've just gotten more involved with the different events that are going on and taking place, and it has really developed my mind and a more need of directing for the people as far as their concerns and needs for the community.
Well, basically, you're a people person. That's
Yes,
what
I
I
am.
see from all the different organizations that you belong to. I mean, you have the church, you have the business, and just the regular community in general. Now, I want to now get back to the Arlington Association, because that's your most current activity that you're involved in, unless there's others I don't know about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned about the food festival, excuse me, the food festival that took place August the 25th, that was the most exciting event that I was involved in for a number of times. In fact, I was awarded by Senator Jamal Bailey. It talked about, my interest and the love that I have for the community, for the Allerton community. It took me by surprise. I didn't really, I wasn't expecting that to receive that award, but I was very happy and know that the work that I put out, that I'm being appreciated, so that made me feel good to know that, I'm doing the right thing and I'm going in the right direction.
And you've also joined me as one of 25 most influential women in the Bronx.
Yes.
By the Bronx Times newspaper.
Yes, that was another unexpected, but of course, very excited award that I received as well.
Right. Now, what does the future hold for you? Well, that's going to be a tough question, I know.
Yeah, well, it is because from what I've seen and learned from just, traveling through the communities of people that help people that have a need for, leadership, I'm going wherever the people want me to go, and I'm going to continue to help those within the community, you know, whether it's merchants or community residents, as long as they'll have me, which they have been, you know, really appreciative of what I've done in the community. So that makes me feel good, and also it's making me know that I'm continuing in the right direction with my life as far as within the church and also the community.
Right. Don't you know you're building a, how can you put it, a dossier that's very similar to a politician that runs for office?
Yes.
Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I've thought about that.
Right. Because you're a people person. You belong to different types of organizations where you're meeting people, and you have probably have expanded your outreach to a large body of people in the community, and not just the Bronx. But had you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I have. It crossed my mind.
Right. Okay. Because I'm looking at the 25 most influential women. I'm looking at the Women's Political Caucus. I'm looking at the church. See, my head is like a ching-ching, 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 because I'm looking at the number of outreach that you have. And then with your business as a design specialist and consultant, ching-ching, because you meet a lot of people there.
Yes.
And you tell a friend, they tell a friend, they tell a friend,
Right.
and everything. Well, you know, I find this rather exciting, and I wanted the audience to know about Ms. Varahn Chamblee and the updates and some of the good things that she's doing. And I really want people to listen now and look for Varahn Chamblee. I keep calling you Chamblee, Chamblee.
Yes.
Okay, I'll get the name right
Yeah.
and everything. Now, one of the other things I need to talk about. Now, you do a lot of work at the Sands.
Yes, I do. That's another place of caring and sharing with people that come. And I'm a hostess there sometimes on the weekend. You know, it's all in the neighborhood.
Right.
And I enjoy serving and helping people, which is the same thing what I do on a larger
That's
scale.
right.
And I look forward to it when I do go into the Sands banquet hall.
Right, right. Okay. Now, are you aware of any kind of political activities? When I say political activity, I know Councilman Mark Jonah, he's a councilman now. He used to be my assemblyman, Mark
okay.
Jonah. Councilman Mark Jonah has been doing things to kind of help the community because you have problems within the community. I just want to mention one particular situation that I know about is when they're out there in City Island. I think it was City Island, I'm not sure, where they wanted the owners to take down this huge platform that talked about their business. It was a platform with the name of with the name of his business. I'm not sure. I don't remember quite what the name was.
Oh.
But he was instrumental in preventing that because this was a business that was part of the threads of the community that had been around for a very, very long time. And as you well know, with the city, there's constantly updates and things going on in the community. Right. I also know one of the biggest things that is happening in the community is the business with the garbage disposals and stuff. How you can control that. I had a friend who recently got a fine because some school kids came along and dropped paper and debris. And it just so happened the inspectors came along right after that, and he wasn't even aware of it, and he received a fine for someone dropping debris in front of his home or his residence or whatever the place was,
Right.
and everything. So I know there's different things that are going on right now to protect their businesses. Are you aware of any other things that are going on with the businesses in terms of protecting them?
Well, a little bit about the garbage disposal. I think that's what you talked about. This particular
Right.
person receiving a fine for litter that someone had put down. But I've heard in one of the meetings a discussion of that eventually they're supposedly, don't quote me on it, but
Right.
I think in the future we're going to be looking forward to people will, businesses as well as residents will be putting their garbage out at a certain time. It will no longer be like sometimes when you put the garbage out early, you have people that grows through it, especially at certain times of the day. So from my understanding that it's supposed to be a time where the garbage disposal they will have the time will change. In other words, landlords will no longer put their garbage out. Okay, tomorrow is recycle or tomorrow is garbage day. They will no longer put their garbage out too early before the pickup. And I believe that they will find that to be helpful in extra litter or people going through garbage or, dragging it somewhere else where it doesn't belong. And I think that will cut down on the litter or people being able to, how you call it, just littering in front of your place of business or your residence.
Right. Now, not that I'm going to get off the topic, but I just want to mention, because I think it's important that we have this discussion, because we're very much involved in the community, is what are your thoughts on the current elections?
You mean the elections in general? Well, I'm very happy to see that, a lot of our women have ran and won.
Yes.
I'm very proud of that. I'm looking forward to, a lot of us women eventually on our way to the White House because of the strong minds of a lot of the women that can make a difference in our world. And that's so important,
Yes. Well, I was very happy because now I think we have what I call, in terms of gender, I think we're approaching what I call true equality, because before our country was driven mostly by males.
Right.
Now I see equality because women are getting more and more involved in the activities and everything. I know, wrap it up. Activities, so I'm going to wrap it down.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank you very much for us having this conversation, and I hope in the near future we can continue our conversation about your community activities and everything. Okay? And I want to tell the audience to thank you very much for listening in our conversation with Ms. Varahn Chamblee.